positions plays a very critical role in as far as the receiving and the interpretation of dreams is concerned. Where you are situated. If you come across an interpreter of mysteries and you declare your misunderstandings and your confusion in form of a dream before the interpreter, the one to whom interpretation is given, the place has to be brought into the equation. Where did you see this from? Where were you when you saw this? And by asking you that question, I'm trying to investigate the matrix of the dream. By the matrix, you are looking at the, you know that meaning, the culture and the environment, even the political environment around the formation of the thing. There is the culture, the circumstances, the politics that encapsulates the dream. A dream is becoming a product of the surrounding or the prevailing situation. Where were you when you got the dream? Why was it important that the prophets in the Bible would say, I was taken to the river, then I saw? Why was it important that the prophet would say, I will stand upon my watch and see what he shall tell me? Why was it important for God to say to Moses, you've asked for my glory. There is a place here where you can see my glory. Moses had not asked for a place, he had asked for the glory, which had nothing to do with the place. And God is saying, my glory has something to do with places. There must be the willingness to move away from one place to another place. And it is that place that will assist you in perceiving what you cannot see. There are places that are designed in a way that will become an advantage for you. So if I'm talking about how fathers manipulate, you see, Jesse knew that I have David at home, who is the king of Israel. And Israel, they have Saul in the battlefield, who is no longer the king of Israel. So these people are going to continue fighting 40 days, no victory. Why? Because the king is not present, who ensures their victory. I am in possession of the victory of Israel in form of a son called David. Unless I release him into that space, then there is no victory that Israel is going to attain in the absence of a king. So what do? I have to send David into a territory. And that territory is going to trigger the divine in him. Because he carries the solution that they've been looking for 40 days. My son at home has it. Places are very important. I'm talking about now the matrix of a dream. What brought about the dream? There are dreams that you are not supposed to follow. Dreams that you are supposed to ignore. Especially having had an understanding of their formation. What formulated that dream? What formulated that dream? In fact, which part of you is responsible for dreams? You must be trained like I'm doing now here.
Yes.
I must be able to know after having a dream in the night which part of me had that dream. No, because not all of me dreams. There is a part of you that when that part dreams, you have to take that dream seriously. And there is a part of you that when it dreams, no matter how horrible, no matter how terrible that dream is, throw it in a bin. When God breathed you, the Spirit, into the nostrils of the physical man, there was the creation of the soul, and man became a living soul. Now, the spirit that God breathed into the physical man is not that soul. The soul is the product. The soul is the product, the byproduct of that marriage between the flesh and the spirit.
Yes.
And the soul was born. And the man who was a physical man then became a living soul. It wasn't the spirit that became a living soul. It was the man, physical man, that was dead. When he was raised by the spirit, he became a living soul. Now, that soul is responsible for many of the dreams. The spirit man can dream and the soul can dream. Now, when we talk about that soul, we are talking about the emotions. The emotions. And what do I mean by emotions? Emotions are quite a lot. Some scientists have said they are over around 25. Some they say around 30 emotions that you have as a human being. But emotions are up to 200. These are the basic ones. When you are sad, it's an emotion. When you are happy, it is an emotion. When you are angry, anger, that agitation is an emotion. When you laugh, loving is an emotion. Dislike, disgust, it's an emotion. Fear, that's an emotion. Now watch this. When you are having an experience that you now call a dream, you must understand the emotion that is active in that dream. Because there is always an emotion that is the main actor in that drama. Let's say I'm 7 years old or 7 years young. And I am playing in a certain place. And as we were playing there, my friend who could not swim jumped into the river, and I watched him drown. At that age, I'd never watched a man die before. We had no television. It was my first experience. And there was an emotion right at the bank of that river, which was activated. I feared, I was terrified by that event. This is not in a dream. I'm talking about what is happening physically before we get into the matrix. Hear me, follow me on this one. This is in a physical manifestation of things before we get into the supernatural. I'm trying to show you what is responsible for the creation of some of the dreams.
Yes, Father. Thank you. Thank you.
Now I am screaming. My friend is gone. We had to go home, tell our parents that this is what has happened, and the police was involved, and they had to come and retrieve him from the water. Now that event is something that you will never forget.
Yes, Father. Yes, Father.
No matter how old you get.
Yes.
Now be very careful now. Each time you go to bed, you might begin to have dreams that associate you with water, danger, death. And the reason why you keep receiving that, it is because of... Now, let me show you something that is happening. At that place when that incident happened, that emotion called fear in you was triggered. And when an emotion is triggered or activated by the impetus or an occurrence that stimulates, that arouses an emotion. You are watching something happening, and that something calls for the attention of one of your emotion, fear. Now, what then happens is that that emotion discharges a radiation into that immediate environment. Your fear reacts, it contaminates that environment. Something comes out of your soul that spoils your surrounding, the matrix. Now, because you have done something not just to yourself, but to your environment. There is what is called the terrestrial radiation. terrestrial radiation. Things that are terrestrial, it means that which belongs to the physical.
Yes, Father.
Okay?
Yes, Father.
Okay. And the radiation, it is how some of those things have the ability to emit some radio frequency signals. From the creation, God created certain things that have an ability to occupy space larger than themselves. Yeah. Okay. Hear this. You must understand what is happening to your soul. This fear that gets influenced by the soul that is localized in a physical body. The extent of your soul. There are things bigger than themselves, things that can occupy bigger spaces than themselves. Physical things. You can have snakes bothering you in your plot, your piece of land. You can hire professionals that can bring to your house snake repellents. We know the mosquito repellent.
Yes, sir.
Some, they come in form of a tablet. They can come and place a tablet somewhere within the area. Now, you now have an object that occupies a space which is 2-3 centimeters or 5 centimeters. And yet from that 5 centimeter range, you have 1 hectare covered. And snakes are being dispersed by something that they cannot see. Because that simple object that occupies that small place is bigger than itself in terms of impact and influence. So your soul doesn't end where it is. You must understand your range. Okay. So we measure the repellent, the space where it occupies, very small. But the entire place is protected by a little thing that is occupying a place that you might not even see it. So the thing now is bigger than its size. Don't be deceived by size. So you, as a spirit, you must understand how broad you are. Your extends beyond your physical appearance. Now, this is happening live and you're watching your friend dying, and then there is an activation of an emotion, and then that emotion emits a radiation. I'm talking about terrestrial radiations. Now, so now you have an atmosphere. You have grown to become 50 years, 60 years, and you still can dream of your friend drowning. You must then understand what keeps taking you back to that river. Because your emotion gave birth to a child into that atmosphere 7 years ago. There was a seed into that atmosphere that your soul from 60 years will have to keep on visiting. No. Okay. So you keep seeing something that happened 50 years ago and you're wondering, how come I cannot get over this thing? There is a reason. Because the soul that you now have today extends to that far. Because that event that took place became a fixture, an established infrastructure that keeps on emitting signals from the past. And whilst you are in the present, you keep on being beckoned by that event. You are being drawn to that event because there was an investment that you did into that atmosphere.
Hey.
Your soul, the anger, the emotion, deposited something into that environment at the river. Oh, so some of you, maybe the first job that you got, that's the job that you keep on dreaming about. And you're thinking, was I not supposed to leave that job? And yet, whilst you were working there, maybe you got your first salary. An emotion called happiness was triggered. And that emotion emitted a radiation into that environment back then. That radiation that came out of your soul is your soul's baby. You gave birth, and the prevailing environment, your surrounding became the midwife that received your child. That your soul will have to keep on visiting. An attachment has been created that keeps drawing you back to that first salary that activated an emotion called happiness. Why do I keep on dreaming the same dream that I once dreamed whilst I was young? Moving away from the physical, even if we get into dreams, whilst you are dreaming, it doesn't matter, you're sleeping on the floor, you're sleeping on the bed, maybe you're 7 years. Let's just deal with 7. The day that you had that dream, it doesn't matter it was in a dream. Your emotions don't know the difference. Your emotion doesn't know that difference.
Yes.
In terms of number,
Yes, man.
the emotion, the number remains the same. But the intensity, the maturity of the emotion, things that you used to fear that you can no longer fear.
Wow.
So there is an improvement of the same thing as you are growing. But notice what is happening now. The issue here is you have made a deposit. And because of that deposit, your soul that you currently have in the present gets summoned by that radiation. And then you are taken back into the past in a dream. And you begin to see things, some of you, because you had a dream when you were grade 5. Some of you had a dream when you were grade 7. And then that thing keeps on coming back. That thing keeps on coming. That thing keeps on coming back. That thing keeps on coming back. And you're wondering what is happening. And yet, that was a major turning point in your life. That encounter was so divine that the rest of your life had now to be molded according to that experience. And then you forgot probably the dream. And yet there was a fixture, an established fixture. So you may have your soul being invited back to that experience so that you can have it again. You are not being sent back to school. You are being reminded that you have been careless. You made a deposit. Your soul deposited something at that time whilst you were still in uniform, which keeps calling you back just so that you can once again have the dream at 50 that you had in grade 7. Something remains in the atmosphere. That is why you have to be careful whether you check in a hotel before you sleep. Do you know souls overstay long after guests have checked out? That is why I know that as a spirit man, before we have a new group coming into the Life Haven, I have a prayer that I do to make sure that spirits check out.
Wow.
When a person is in a place, there are emissions into that atmosphere. You can get into a strange place where you have never slept before, and you can have an overlap of dreams. You dream a dream that is not yours. You are spending a night in a contaminated environment, an environment that still carries the emotion of another individual. You will notice there are so many people that have been to hotels that I know, and they say every time I book in a hotel, I can't sleep well. Yet that's the most expensive place where you expect to rest.
Yes.
And you can't rest. You must be very, very careful. Humans, as you are walking and you are interacting with them, they are not confined to their physical appearance. There is an extension, the superfluity of the spirit, the surplus of the spirit. Because there is a part of you that can visit places like you have tentacles like that of an octopus. Where you are here 50 years and you have a hand, an emotion that extends to 7 years ago when you were still a child. And that hand, it's a line of communication. Because remember, if you are dreaming about that event today at 50, when you dream about that event where your brother was drowning or your friend was drowning, the fear is transported from the past to the present. And you wake up sweating like you were there. Why? Because that tentacle is a connection. It's an established attachment because of what you emitted right there when the event took place. So because of that line, you are having the same fear being transported into your present, and you are becoming a victim of events that took place years ago. Now, here's the problem. When you are dreaming, you must understand you have two lines. Whilst you are here, you must understand that you are a receiver of frequencies.
Yes,
as an individual. Right?
Yes,
and also you emit frequencies as an individual. You are a receiver.
An emitter.
And you also emit frequencies. Be careful. This is why you can never be happy spending a day with somebody who is always complaining. Okay? Because their emotion is contagious. The reason why certain people, when they arrive, the joy dissipates. It is because an emotion that contradicts that has arrived.